Oh, whatever. Just, whatevs.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. This is the Box Social Electronic Game Podcast. It's Saturday, May 10th, and I'm Shane Goen. I'm joined by Brennan Hassan.
Hi there.
And Caleb Dodge.
Who?
Kozak.
Oh, yeah, that's me.
That guy. What is up, y'all?
Not too much. Coming off of a odd break. Being sick last week was no fun.
It's all Lance's fault we weren't here.
So was it strep?
No, just something viral. They never came back with anything positive. I was so sure that was what it was, though. But it came back negative twice. Both in the instant test and the culture. So nothing. No, I just had something really shitty.
Well, you don't want feral AIDS, man. Feral AIDS is really bad.
Yeah, I don't want that.
Yeah. I caught the Dota bug last week and this week, so I should have had Dark Souls 2 finished by now. But
you haven't finished that yet? God damn
No.
it! I thought you did finish it. To be
No,
honest.
I got to the Dragon Airy, and every time I get on, it's like somebody from work or one of you guys is like, "Yo, let's play." Well, okay, not Kozak, but
Yeah.
you'll message me and be like, "Yo, let's play some Dota or something." And I'll be like, "Yeah, okay."
Let's play Dota. Okay.
And then I'll pop on and you guys be like, hey, you want to play Dota? I'll be like, fuck no, I'm playing Dark Souls.
Absolutely. Have you finished it yet, Kozak?
No, I haven't. I'm in Iron Keep right now. Just getting
nice.
past that, yeah.
Okay.
I'm taking my time.
Yeah. I just got to the Dragon Airy, so I'll probably plow through that sometime this weekend and just wrap it up. Like, so far I haven't been like really delayed by any of the boss encounters so far. Nothing has like halted my progress. The only thing that's really halted my progress is Dota. And now with the Compendium out, that could get worse, so.
That's definitely going to get worse. Less than 24 hours in, and they've already met. I could probably turn the game on right now and look. They probably met stretch goal 4 by now.
What's the player base? Like, unique players per month now. Is it still like 7 million?
It's higher than World of Warcraft now.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's like, I think World of Warcraft is 7.25, and then I think Dota's at 7.5 now.
Oh, wow.
So,
They went down by a few million in the past years.
yeah.
Yeah, I feel like World of Warcraft will probably get back up to like 9 or 10 million with the new expansion, at least for a month or two.
Yeah, it'll climb and then fall again, yeah.
It's crazy how long the legs are on that game. The tail, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how much more they can get out of it, but Dota, it just keeps getting bigger.
So you picked up the Compendium last night, right?
Oh yeah, it's a definite improvement on last year's Compendium, and I thought the Compendium last year was like the greatest thing since the invention of sliced bread for a video game. Like, it was a really, really, really good addition. Like, as a fan of both the competitive side of Dota and then just having something that's like extracurricular to do, it was a huge thing. They added a lot to this one. They kind of kept like the same ideas that they had last year, but they added a few new like questionnaires, a few like player objectives while playing, like actually playing Dota. Now they've got the fantasy draft kind of system in, so the super Dota nerds can do their fantasy leagues, which from what I've heard are handled pretty well. I haven't done that yet. I assume that we'll get a kind of a silly box social thing going on. Maybe just the two. It may be just you and I.
Is D&D going to be on your draft too?
No, dude, I don't know if I'm gonna pick D&D, to be honest.
Really?
As a mid, yeah, I don't know. I may pick Mushi from DK, or I may go. I don't go Arteezy. Arteezy's too young. He's not there yet. He'll get there, but probably next year.
Sure, my team of choice is going to be DK. Just
Donkey
cause.
Kong?
Yes.
Yeah, Donkey Kong.
Team. Donkey Kong Team Dota.
Yeah, I'd probably end up saying the DK will take the entire tournament. Probably won't be a bad call. They haven't been doing great as of late since the new patch, but I think that's just like post patch jitters and people getting used to that. That always happens.
I've really liked watching Empire lately. Oh, I misspoke at the start of this podcast. It's the Box Social Dota podcast.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's Dota podcast. Kozak's here, but he's not allowed to speak.
Two guys like Dota, and another guy's like pretty meh about it.
You're mad because you haven't put enough time into it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't have the time.
We just need to strap you to your computer chair for 12 hours.
Yeah, I need
And
pull
just
a
go
Clockwork
for it.
Orange. Just use some mechanical materials.
No
just
blinking.
Pry your eyes open. And
So he's gonna be
you're
doing
gonna
the
have
eyedropper.
like I'll probably be the eyedropper. You'll have an enlightening moment. You're like, I understand now. Why you all play it? I get it. No more. Yeah. Anyway,
It's pretty good. I mean, it's enough to delay my Dark Souls 2 playthrough, which is
Yeah.
like fucking insane that it's like I've gotten this far into it. But I mean, it's
I mean, you were
like every night I
pretty
play a
amped
game
for
or
Dark
two.
Souls to come out. So
Yeah. I mean, I'm still like I've put in a lot of time into Dark Souls, and it's like overall probably over the last 2 weeks I've put in more time into that than any other single game. But it like free moments in the evening to where it's like Dota takes up like an hour at a time at least, and sometimes 2 hours, and it's like if I get that message, then I will
it's like,
move
God
to
damn
that
it.
immediately. Yeah.
Fine, I'll play.
It's got me, man. It has really got me in a way that a competitive game has not gotten me in ages. Like, I mean, I really got into Titanfall in a way for like a competitive shooter, which I really
like,
don't play competitive.
2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 or 3 weeks. I don't know. I mean, I'll still play it off and on.
You say 2 weeks, Hazek, but honestly, if we all suggested to play Titanfall right now, would you say no?
Yeah, you got me. You
Yeah,
got
like
me.
nobody would say no, like especially with the new maps right coming up. But that's a different thing. But yeah, Dark Souls, Dota, hard games, yo.
So since Dota is kind of like older news outside of the Compendium and the International starting up, what do you guys think about Dark Souls 2 on PC?
I love it.
Yeah, if you have being somebody who had beaten the 360 one twice before the PC one came out, like it was a giant breath of fresh air, to be honest. If you like the Dark Souls game, you have a computer that's capable of playing it, like don't fucking cheat yourself and buying on a console. It's so much better on the computer. Like 60 frames per second, solid, and the game just looks better. There's not as much screen tearing as there is on the console one. And
Praise the sun.
Yeah,
Praise
like
it hard.
that's a definite praise, because it was a minor thing, but it really became a problem for long play sessions for me.
So the opinion at the office is that I'm cheating myself out of the experience by not co-oping through Dark Souls 2.
No.
No, that's the thing about Dark Souls, man. It's a game you get to you craft your own path through that game.
Yeah.
That's a silly thing for people to say you're cheating yourself out of experience. Honestly, for me, I feel like you cheat yourself out of experience when you do summon in people Kafka's at Kafka's.
No.
I get
That's
that
just
could
me
be
cheating.
fun. Has it? Okay, so have you ever felt like it was necessary to summon somebody, or is it just to where it's like you just want to breeze through it?
Well, I don't. Well, when I was
Is that a
doing the
loaded
Iron
question?
Keep boss, that is. When I was doing the Iron Keep boss, fuck, what? It's
The fat ass with a sword that has a butt for a face. Yeah.
Yes, that guy.
Pucker
I
lips.
really felt like I really needed someone who could at least do some DPS damage on him, because that fight would take fucking like an hour, no matter what. Even with like a super high level ultra sword, which I was using, would just take fucking forever to do.
Well, he is an optional boss, but yes, I understand what you're talking about.
He is?
He's completely
God
optional.
damn it.
You don't have to fight him. I mean, if you did beat him, cool. Hey,
There's
you
a
beat him.
bonfire there.
Yeah, there's
There
a bonfire.
is.
It's helpful to beat him.
And once you clear that area, you can go back and there's a pursuer there that you can take out.
Yeah, get yourself a new ring.
Yeah.
That fight is definitely one of the more troublesome fights. And I see, like, definitely, like I was like saying, like you felt like you needed to summon someone. And when I was playing that on the console, I didn't have as much trouble with him on the PC, only because I honestly think it's because of the 60 frames per second. Like 30 frames per second, like really does kind of fuck with reaction times on some of these bosses. Like I find myself just absolutely dominating some of the bosses on PC. This does not mean the game's easier. It just means like I've played the game for a while, and it just helps to have 60 frames per second for people listening. This game's not easy if you're a new person to this game. In fact,
Parrying
yeah,
feels
like,
so much easier in 60 frames per second.
yeah, like there's just things that just feel smoother with the 60 frames per second change. And again, like I was saying, this game it's not easy. If you're someone who's never played a Souls game before and you pick up 2, you're gonna have a hard time. just
What? When the game first came out, I was having that problem where everything was just too smooth for me because I was playing Dark Souls 1 and then I went straight to Dark Souls 2 like right afterwards, and I'm like, no, this is too fluid. I can't do anything. Like backstabs were almost impossible for like the first hour.
Yeah, I remember that. You're like, oh my god, this doesn't run like shit. What the fuck?
Yeah, I can't take it.
Yeah, it's a thing.
So I know that we've talked about this before, but I think it'd be interesting for the podcast. Like one of the things going into Dark Souls 2 is that like distanced from it, like looking at it from like the outside, it's like it seems like it is designed to be a more challenging game than the first Dark Souls. But going through it, maybe it's just because experientially I've like gone through Demon Souls and Dark Souls, so now Dark Souls 2 seems to be an easier ride. But it's like in practice, it comes across as being at least a smoother experience for me. And I was wondering if you guys felt the same way, if you guys think that it's an easier experience.
I think all Dark Souls games are built around your experience with the genre. The more experience you are with the games, the better you're going to do. I think that just goes without saying with those games. I think that the game definitely, like I said just a second ago, like if you're new to the series, this one I think is a lot harder. They don't. The way that the health system works in the game compared to Dark Souls 1, where you lose a bit incrementally every death, like that really punishes a new player starting off the game, and a new player may have to restart the game a couple of times. Like you just might have to do that, especially when you don't know like what you're doing, like in terms of like player creation. You're like, okay, I'll pick this, but I have no reason like actually why I'm picking this for an in-game reason or anything like that. Like that's. That I think that can be a hindrance. I don't think that the game. I really don't think the game is an easy game at all. I think that for you and for me, like if we went back and played Dark Souls 1, I mean, last time I played Dark Souls 1, I started a new character and I got past the first 3 bosses, and then skipped bosses and got to other ones and beat her in like less than an hour and a half. Yeah. So, like, once you know what you're doing, I think these games are just they're not as hard. I mean, they're still difficult games. You're so accustomed to timing that's needed for rolls and whatnot that encounters that would be difficult to the person just starting the game are breezy for you. But it does not mean the game's easy. It just means that you're just good at it.
How about you, Kazak? What's your experience with it?
That would kind of be my same kind of experience. Like until I got Tyrant Keep, which that was the point, was like I really need some help with this, just because the boss just kept taking damage like there was no tomorrow. Like the game felt easier to me, but I knew that was more because I just got done playing the first one, so I knew what the hell I was doing. I knew what kind of build I was comfortable with. I knew some of the the rolls and like the invincibility frames and how to take advantage of those systems. So it's more like I know how to play the game, so I didn't really have that curve of dying a shit ton and then going, oh, I get this.
Yeah, it's tough because it's like from the outset, when I've been suggesting the game to people that haven't played a Souls game yet, it's I feel like in many ways it's more approachable than the other Souls games, just because the starting area seems to be it is clearly a tutorial, right? Yeah. It's where it's optional, but that is as tutorials that series has ever gotten. Like right up there with Demon Souls' opening, where it's like you could not die.
I mean,
till
it's a tutorial, but they don't really. It doesn't really tell you it's a tutorial. Still, like you have to read the plaques or whatever, the graves that they have around. If you don't do that, I mean, it's just a zone.
Yeah, I think at a certain point, it's like they've got to like back it up and be like, you've got to be like responsible for your own destiny here. To where it's like, at a certain point, it's like they can't lead anybody through it. It's like if they are not equipped to like check the signs or something, then they're not equipped to get past any of the challenges.
Well, but here's the thing: like they don't really need to read the sign. Actually, I was just thinking about this. Old school game, famous game, Mega Man X1 is like one of the most famous games for its first level, because it's the first level of its game. Demonstrates to you everything you need to know about the upcoming levels of like the way they're going to design this game. You need to learn like the wall kicking, sliding, all that other stuff. You learn it by just naturally progressing through that level. I feel like that's kind of the same thing with this tutorial area. They give you kind of the basic ideas of what their enemy placement will be. Like, hey, guess what? We're going to surprise you sometimes with the dude that'll be around this corner. You won't always know he's there, but he'll appear here. So like that just kind of into the person that's really being introspective about it, about that level, they're going to notice these things. They're like, okay, this is how this game's going to be designed. I just need to keep on my toes. Obviously, someone who's like some guy who's just blazing through it probably won't pay that much attention to it. Subconsciously, maybe he will, but if you pay attention, you'll learn the way that they design the game in a kind of a tiny nutshell in that area, regardless if you're reading the gravestones or not. Anyway, I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think it certainly is like educating you on more so than just like the basic like button inputs, but also informing you like, this is what you need to expect. Like we will place enemies in your blind spots. Sometimes archers will have line of sight from higher terrain. You need to move quickly. You need to go slowly. Keep your shield up. That sort of shit. So I feel like it's easier to get into in a way. But also, I feel like comparatively, like the early areas of the game are much more challenging than the areas that you would have access to at the same time in Dark Souls, the first one, and certainly more so than Demon Souls.
Certainly much more so than Demon Souls.
Like Forest of Giants, right? Like 2 bosses, one right after another. And with that second boss being a significant step up in difficulty compared to anything else in that series at that time.
Yeah.
Like Pursuer, for me, like I know that there was a lot of to-do done, said about like the Capra Demon in the first Dark Souls. But I felt like that was a pretty smooth boss fight that had like one trick to it. While it's like the Pursuer is a very aggressive enemy that's going to challenge you, especially if you're going solo, to learn mechanics like parrying or learning to stay on your feet and find like a very specific, very precise opening. That is very Dark Souls. And I think that portion of the game and from then on is significantly more challenging than the first Dark Souls. Even though I'm breezing through it faster, it's like I'm observing the design.
It's not like you're not being challenged by it though. Like
sure.
It's like you're saying, like it's like it's saying, like you know how to play the game, so you know how to do certain. If an enemy does this, you're like, okay. Even if you get hit by it the first time, it's gonna be harder for them to hit you the second time because you learn what the timing of that is. So
absolutely.
Yeah, this game is. Don't let us deter you from thinking it's not hard. It can be difficult.
I've seen that like the reason why I wanted to bring it up as like a topic is because it's been a consistent thing that I've seen on the internet, I guess, to where people are complaining about the casualization of the series based on Dark Souls 2, and I think that is
I
very
don't think
hyperbolic.
I don't think the game is casual at all. I really don't. At all, actually.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't even know that people are actually talking about that shit. I think that just comes from people that don't want to recognize the thing that we're talking about, which is if you know the game, you're just gonna do fine in it.
Yeah.
So, since I'll probably wrap up the game in the near future, it's one of the few ones towards like I'm immediately going to go back through in New Game Plus. And prior to that, I'm probably going to use an item in Dark Souls 2 called the Bonfire Aesthetic to level up some boss fights in order to get additional loot or to clear out areas prior to New Game Plus.
Are you gonna double your bonfire stick? Because you can technically get 2.
Yeah, I'll probably.
You can get a ton of them. You can get more
I'll
than
probably
2.
level up and go through multiple. Like I'll kind of like cherry pick areas that I know to where it's either the loot seems promising or to where I know there's good experience there to where it'll be good for like leveling to go back through it one more time. And then then immediately like flip the game over and go through New Game Plus. But it's super rare for a game to engage me like this, and it's something that really like the Souls games are one of the few that do it to where it's like as soon as I finish, I feel like I'm gonna go right back through it again for another 30-40 hours.
Well, the fun thing too about this game is when you beat it, you'll go through New Game Plus and they add extra enemies to the game. And pretty much all the extra enemies they add to the game are secretive. Like, they don't just, like, put them in front of you. They're just kind of like, hey, this guy's around a corner. Surprise. They're all,
super cool.
Yeah, there are a lot of red phantoms. They're all actually pretty much all the actual added enemies are red phantoms. Some of them will be, you kill them, they'll be gone forever. Some of them will keep respawning. But a lot of, since they're red phantoms, they are player character kind of red phantoms, which means they're a lot more difficult to kill.
Quick question. So I was in a zone, and it said that I could summon a red phantom into my game. You guys had that before?
A red phantom?
You could summon a red phantom into your game. I'm not sure you just summon
like a player's red soapstone sign.
That's probably what it was.
It was.
Yeah.
It was a red soapstone sign, and it's like, you can summon this guy.
Yeah, you can just put your summon sign down for PvP. People do that. That was in Dark Souls 1.
Well, Dark Souls 1, when I was playing it, was
I know the community's not really there
like
anymore.
you get to Lando, and it becomes a ghost town.
Yeah.
It's a hell of a thing so far, and I've also been kind of looking at the level design, and I'm not sure what it is about it. Like, I liked how Dark Souls was kind of like an anthive of interconnected tunnels, and this is something we talked about last podcast, or maybe it was the podcast before that, when it first came out, and you were playing it on Xbox 360, and how the differences in terms of like the philosophy behind the level design, to where this one is very outstretched, like a spiderweb laid flat, while the other one is kind of like this giant interconnected weaving. I don't know, like ziggurat or something.
I use the term, it's like a hand that's been placed down palm side up or down, flat on a table, doesn't matter, but you had like your palm of your hand was the area, and they had the outstretched fingers, which are kind of the zones. So like each joint on your finger would be like a zone in the game. It's kind of the best way I could describe it.
I think that's an excellent way to explain it. And it's interesting to see the differences, like between the first Dark Souls and that, and I kind of appreciate the sense of going on a journey in this. Like, that feels very Demon Souls to me, to where it's just like you're going ever deeper along this path without knowing when it's going to end. And sometimes when you wind up at a place, it feels like you are so very far away from home.
That's
and
especially
I really like
true
that.
in the gutter and Black Gulch.
Yeah,
that kind of area just screams that, though. Darkness, gloomy, poison. It's all bad shit.
We're going up like Drangleic Castle, right? Where it's like you're so far in the distance from where Majula is, but at the same time, it's got. I like how they've kind of painted the other areas into the skybox, to where it's like you feel like there's a continuity, and it's not 1-to-1. Like, they're fudging it in this, but it feels like, I don't know, it's really gorgeous and very I don't know, impactful to see like a distant area, and then when you arrive there, it's like, okay, I remember seeing this like hours ago, like 10 hours ago. I remember seeing this castle in the distance, and now I'm here. I think it's really cool. I think they pulled it across really well. I of course, distances are totally fudged. Like, from the distance from Majula, and you can see like Hyde's Tower of Flame in the distance. Like, that is way further than the actual trip to Hyde's Tower.
Yes,
but it still feels good, I think.
I agree. I like it. The only issue I had with the design of the world was that, as much as I liked each individual kind of place, some of it just did not feel like a good link. Like the Harvest Valley, and then Earth and Peak, those linked fine. But then, like, immediately after Earth and Peak, you go and do all of a sudden you're in the Black Keep. You're like, what the fuck am I doing here? Like, that didn't make a lot of sense. But
I felt like that had, at least since that was grounded in the first Dark Souls, to where that's on Orlando, and Earth and Peak was Sin's Fortress, and Harvest Valley being the Darkroot Basin.
Yeah, like that. Those make, if you look at it, if you're looking at the plot line of the game, totally makes sense. I'm just saying, from like the outset.
Oh, okay, yeah.
The outset, looking into it, you're kind of like, what the fuck? I mean, it makes more sense when you look up the lore that players have scrounged up. But yeah, from the outset, it was kind of like, what the fuck is this design? I like each individual. Again, I liked each individual world. It's just the link was weird sometimes.
Yeah. I hear that. It's a hell of a game. And I think that's going to be up there for like Game of the Year for me, certainly.
Probably for a lot of people, to be honest.
Yeah,
we got a lot of games to go this year, though.
I wonder if like a 2013 game's going to be my Game of the Year, though, because could go to Dota.
Yeah,
Like, okay, this was my 2013-2014 game of the year.
But the funny part about that is, like, that's a game it just changes all the time, man. I mean, it's called Dota 2, but I mean, shit, they haven't added anything new into it besides hats. I mean,
wait
it's
a
still
minute,
the
there's
same.
hats. There are hats now.
There are
Oh, there's
hats.
so
Oh my
Compendium.
god, I gotta play that game forever now.
Yeah, there's all kinds of shit in that game now. But I mean, they gameplay wise, it's a nice touch of paint on a mod. They didn't really add or change anything. They just gone for They went for, I think the last 3 patches have been the first patches for Dota 2 that have been patched for Dota 2 first before the mod. So because before the matches that they added to Dota 2 were just parody updates for the mod. Because people still play that damn thing.
Yeah, there's a guy that I work with who's was super into the first Dota and can't quite get into Dota 2 for whatever reason.
That doesn't make any fucking sense, but
I
okay.
I know. He's a cool guy.
Yeah.
But, and, I guess it's one of those things to where it's like, the differences aren't as vast between, like, CS 1.6 and Counter-Strike Source, as between, like, Dota All-Stars and, like, Dota 2.
There's a
True.
ton of difference between CS 1.6 and CS Source.
I might have phrased that incorrectly. I'm saying like that is a larger divide than it is between like Dota All-Stars and Dota 2. But it's like, I could see why it's like once you're entrenched in one, and it's kind of like even the most minor changes will seem drastic, especially if you spent like hundreds of hours playing the first one. Like if somebody played like hundreds of hours of CS 1.6, let's say it was just a fresh coat of paint and ragdoll, then that could still throw them off. Because it's like it probably won't be like a one-to-one experience.
What was the thing that did throw off most people though? Is because nobody wanted to use Steam back in the day.
Yeah. God, you guys remember that? It was super weird. I remember hating Steam.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Man, that's kind of awkward now. You go and you boot up your Steam, and you're like, oh, hey, Steam. And it remembers back in its head how much you despised it. You don't know which drink is going to be laced with poison. You just don't know.
They're all laced. So do you guys want to talk about what you guys have been playing in the last week? Like, I've got a short list here of what I've got.
We've already talked about what I've been playing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's most of my list too, to be honest.
Okay. Well, I mean, like I'll just pick it up. So if you guys want to divert it,
All right.
Interject whenever. I picked up a Wii U. And
I'm
since we
sorry.
last podcasted, I'm still being an ass.
That'll be a dick.
Like,
one.
I mean,
it's a
financially
good system for its time.
Yeah.
For what
Financially, it's like I don't think Nintendo's doing real well, but as far as like a system goes, and it's like an established library, it's pretty solid at this point. I don't think that the operating system is particularly smooth, but I'm not spending a lot of time like interfacing with that.
Is that operating system just the 3DS's operating system?
No, well, I mean, it's got some similarities for sure. Like, if you were to open up a 3DS and set it side by side, then like the way that you interact with the touchscreen on the Wii U in order to access different parts of the menu is identical to 3DS.
If you hold down a certain button on the gamepad, does it change the music for the boot login screen?
Yeah, and the GameCube logo will spin around, and yeah, it's been pretty fun. I've wound up playing more of it than I thought. I picked up New Super Mario Bros. U, which is something that I've been playing with my girlfriend pretty frequently. And then for myself, I've picked up Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate and New Super Mario 3D World, which are like more down my alley. Even though I've had a lot of fun with New Super Mario 3D World in co-op. Or
are you and her playing 3D World also? Or
she's not as into the 3D Marios.
Okay.
So that's kind of like just me going through solo, and that's been pretty fun. I'm not sure how much I like that style over like Super Mario Galaxy, right? Like I'm enjoying it. I really want to finish it, and I'll probably like get close, if not 100% that game, like I do with a lot of the mainstay Marios. But it's not as impressive, right? And that's something that kind of bumps me out. Like it's each level kind of feels like more of a trifle. Like they've got unique mechanics layered in, and they're very creative. But it's
are you pretty far through the game though? right now?
Or
are you
I
still
would say
kind
I'm
of
probably
early
about
in it?
halfway through. That being said,
Okay.
typically
Mario
there's
games
a
tend to
secret,
open up.
Yeah, there's like going to be probably like a secret set of worlds post Final Castle.
There's actually a ton of secret worlds, like I think 5.
I bet.
2 sets, and a couple of unlockable characters.
Oh yeah,
and,
Rosalina, right?
Yeah, well, there's another one too, if I'm not mistaken, as well. But yeah, that's strange for you to hear that, because a lot of the stuff when Super Mario 3D came out, a lot of stuff I was reading and seeing, is it was being hailed as one of the better Mario games to come out in a long time.
I think it's great. Well, like, don't get me wrong, it's me being dismissive of it. I just feel like when you turned on Super Mario Galaxy and you went to teach one of those worlds, they felt much more complete, and the changes in design were much more impactful. Right, like that was a much more dynamic game just on the outset. Like the concept of it and the level design was way more like, one, you're sitting there and you're engaging with one of those environments for 20-30 minutes, as opposed to this one to where you're in there for 5 minutes. So it's just like the scale has changed, and like the entire scope of the experience is altered because of that. So it feels much more like the 3DS game, and it doesn't really like establish a strong differentiation from the 3DS game. It feels like the 3DS game blown up and probably like fully explored, but that's not necessarily what I wanted in particular out of a Mario game, as much as I do like it.
Yeah, cat suits.
It's cat suits. You just talked about it being like a 3DS game kind of blown up. I was kind of the same kind of idea when they announced it. I know what they went for with it. They want to try to meld like the 2D 3D game in terms of the Mario style. But I mean, I think that the 3D world or 3D land or whatever, the 3DS was awesome. But I mean, I think that game does belong more on the handheld for that style. I don't like, because that was the thing. Like, it was hyped as being 3D world. Like it utilized the 3DS in a really cool way for a lot of the world design. And you can't do that with a fucking Wii U right now. You can't do that. So I think it's a little shammy to add like putting the 3D in the title. I think the next Mario game will be something more along the lines of like Galaxy and 64 and Sunshine, only because they're starting to really run into the ground the 2D, because there's so many of like the new Super Mario Brothers games. What is there like? There's 2 for the DS, there's the 1 for the Wii, and now there's 1 for the Wii U. And they're all like the same fucking game. I love Mario to death, but there's a reason that Shigeru went from Super Mario Land on the SNES to 64. Like it just needs a breath of fresh air. It's the same reason from Sunshine they went to Galaxy. It needs fresh air. And I don't think making 3D World, as much as I'm sure that game's awesome and I would love to play it. I don't think they'll continue making that game anymore.
Yeah, and I'm alright with this game's existence. Like the design and the quality of it like fully justifies, not only just the purchasing price, but like the time investment to complete it. Like it is really enjoyable. I just find it like significantly less impressive than previous outings, right? Like I mean, even like Galaxy and Galaxy 2 were very samey, but it was just like the I don't know, the incredible nature of those games' worlds and how you will interact with them, or go back, and it's got like a sense of exploration within each one of its worlds, even if they're smaller. You'll go back for multiple objectives. Well, this one is straight up like get to the end of the course and hit the flagpole, and then move on to the next one. So it's like you're collecting, specific like large golden star coins or green star coins in this. And after you get 3, you move on, and that's been kind of par course for like New Super Mario Bros. And for Super Mario 3D Land. And I have fun doing it, and they kind of like disguise like what would be a star challenge as like, okay, you've got to do a very specific style of platforming to get to this one green coin. I find that like less engaging than having like, I don't know, like 64 had like mini boss fights, and so did Galaxy or Sunshine, to where like it felt more like bombastic and larger, and it's like this is a much more console experience, and this one doesn't quite match that, so it's like it's really fun and it's extremely well designed, and I think it's a great game. It's just not as like gripping or as impressive as I think it could have been. But yeah, that's Super Mario 3D World. I'm not all the way through it, of course. I've got a lot to go. So I'm halfway through the game pre, additional content. On top of that, I've been playing Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate with one of my buddies here in Kentucky, and that's been a lot of fun, especially going back and forth between that and Dark Souls. So, I don't know, have you guys played Monster Hunter before?
I've not played it.
Always wanted to, but never could get into it. Like, never bought it or had a console to play it.
Yeah, it's especially since you guys like Dark Souls, I could see this being more of like a smoother transfer than it would be for like other people that are like haven't played a Souls game, haven't played a Monster Hunter game, and they pick up Monster Hunter. It's got like the animation priority combat system like Dark Souls has, to where it's like it rewards precision and timing as opposed to like pulling off combos. Like it's good if you get like one good hit in and then back off or roll away. And it's just been super enjoyable to go through like larger scale hunts with a buddy, or like using the Wii-U's online to bring in multiple people into a lobby and have like a hunter group of 4 rolling through. A lot of times the fights are super engaging, and will take you from land to sea, and all over these like hunting arenas, I suppose. If the game's not open world, it's not outstretched like a Dark Souls. You kind of embark on a mission, and it will give you like a slice of landscape that's pretty large and zoned off. And you'll fight the monster across like multiple zones. So it's like you might fight it in one segment of this landmass, and once you injure it and it's limping away, it'll go back to its lair, to where it's going to feed on a monster. So it's kind of like prior to the hunt, while you're trying to suss out like where it is in the environment, you can also stumble upon its lair and maybe come up with traps to where it's like, okay, once I injure it and it retreats back to its home, I can leave poison meat there. So when it's hungry and it's trying to refill its health bar, it'll eat the poison meat and get sick and make the rest of the fight easier. So it's a game of preparation and a game of like very swift execution. But that's been super enjoyable and very weird. And I probably appreciate it more after playing the Souls games than I did prior to. But yeah, that's about it from the Wii U. I think it's pretty cool. Are you picking one up for Mario Kart Wii U?
I think I am.
Is that number 8?
Yeah, Mario Kart 8.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm totally sold on that game. Totally 100% sold on it. So.
Like, that game looks super great, and I would love to play that online. Since the Wii one had online play, but it was so like restrictive in terms of voice chat, and I don't know.
It was the Wii online experience. No.
Yeah. The critically acclaimed Wii online experience.
That best online.
Yeah. And I guess speaking of online experiences, I've as of now I've stopped playing Elder Scrolls Online, stopping in level like 33, 34. And I just didn't have the motivation to keep going through that leveling.
What happened?
I don't know, man. It peters out like pretty harsh. It becomes very repetitive at a certain point. Like, and I feel it more so in that than I did in other MMOs. I guess because there's that certain modicum of additional interactivity in the combat systems, and I felt like it wasn't like an exciting challenge. It felt like a very samey challenge after a while. And it didn't help that the game was so story-oriented and yet lacked a breadth of voice actors, right? Like, it's you hear the same voices very frequently. So, like, even though the dialogue for the most part was relatively well written, I started to tune it out. And it required you to listen to more of the dialogue in order to suss out like the mission objectives, more so than in other MMOs. So it disengaged me from the narrative that pulls you through the zones, and it disengaged me from its combat system. And at that point, it's like, what the fuck is there? So I don't think it's a bad game. I think that it's a very acceptable game. But it's not something that I want to continue to play with, at least not until they make some significant changes to that game in the future. So
no end games. Good good beginning games, no end games.
I think it's got plenty of in-game content. It's just not something I really want to like mess with right now. The combat system, like I said when I was explaining, I guess the last podcast it's kind of like a Guild Wars 2 system, where it's like you've got a limited set of actions, and I felt myself getting into like I had a setup that worked for me. So it was like every single encounter played out the same way. It didn't matter if it was a boss mob. It didn't matter if it was like groups of mobs. It was like I was set up to handle each combat encounter through the same system. And in World of Warcraft or something, that would frequently happen. Like you would get into a rotation to where it's like, okay, I'm going to hammer out this rotation and it's good to go. But frequently in World of Warcraft, you had the threat of open world PvP in order to mix things up. And engaging in the combat systems was much more relaxing. Like you didn't have to be as on top of your game. So in this, I felt like, I had to actively block, but it was like, okay, I'm doing this again. This has no challenge. I'm just going through the motions, and it required more motions. So I felt like the game was very easy. It had some difficulty spikes, and I thought that those were kind of like unwarranted and kind of it felt more like the game was poorly tuned or poorly designed in the sequences where it got harder, as opposed to it being like we're going to challenge you to mix up your combat techniques. So just kind of like very disengaged with it. I liked it for that month, but I have no impetus to go back through and play it anymore. Yeah.
Oh, well.
It happens.
You guys want to talk about something so I can catch my breath?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's Wildstar open beta weekend. Anybody download that yet? Give it a try.
Yeah.
Give it a whirl.
I gave it a short whirl yesterday.
I played it for about an hour.
Lance, tell us the short whirl that you had, because I've been on the fence about it this whole time. I don't know why. It's something with the art direction that semi puts me off. But to the point that I'm like, I don't want to press the button to download. But I would like to give it a try. I will say that
the art style. I played the game for like an hour and a half, and I played I guess the evil side. If you want to say there's a evil side, they're basically totalitarian.
Let's call them
Nazi-esque
the misunderstood
people.
side.
Yeah.
Okay, the misunderstood side.
I played an engineer robot that I wanted to just model off of Ultron from Avengers, but anyway, did my best to do that. But yeah, our art style looks like a Ratchet and Clank game. And they go for like this comic book, kind of like Image Comics, kind of like vibe, with some of its actual hand-drawn art. I didn't, for my playtime, I will say I did not like the writing. I didn't feel like there was a lot of direction in what I was doing. I've only played the game for an hour and a half. It's hard to say a lot about an MMO when you haven't put at least 20 hours into it. Which for me is kind of like the downfall of most of my playtime with MMOs. I just don't make it to that. Especially as of late. If I want to play a game, I just want to play a different game. I haven't been that person as I used to play a shit ton of WoW, but I haven't been that person as of late. It's like, yeah, I want to sit down and dig into a game and be okay with the fact that I'm probably going to only enjoy my latter half of my 40 hours experience rather than the first 20 of that 40 hours.
Sometimes your butt cheeks can only take so much sitting, man. You get older.
It's an MMO, so look, you're going to do questing. You're going to kill things, you're going to grind out the levels, and from what I played, questing was not that interesting. I did like, the two things I did like about the beta so far have been, one, the combat. It takes a stab at the combat that was starting to become more popular in MMOs by Guild Wars 2, where it's more dodge-oriented. It's the same kind of system. You get 2 dodge rolls, avoid it. The thing is that players manually aim all their abilities, and they give you this interesting kind of, if it's like my character's a shotgun, so I have this cone. Whenever I fire my gun, the center of the cone is like the main damage line, so you get more damage out of it if you get them dead center. If you get the sides, you'll get some. You'll still get some damage, but it just won't be as much, obviously.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a cool system. I really like the combat ideas. I think in PvP it's going to be like the coolest thing. You can see everybody's kind of cones or shapes, their attacks, so you can dodge anything. I think in PvP, which they're talking a lot about, I think that might turn into a clusterfuck, but of like damage cones and stuff. To a point where I'm like, I don't even know when I'm gonna know like what attacks to avoid, which I think kind of is gonna come down to player skill.
I think every attack,
but yeah, every attack. Look, you don't want to get hit. Obviously, it's an MMO and a PvP zone, but I apparently they also say that some of the late game stuff is gonna be like they actually tagline some of the raids as being near impossible. Which I want difficulty. That's kind of the reason I haven't played MMOs in a long time, is a lot of them just aren't hard anymore. I mean, the only game that I played as of late that was difficult, but it was like senselessly difficult. Like I just didn't it didn't seem like it needed to be that hard, was the instances in Guild Wars. And Guild Wars 2. Like those just didn't even make any sense why they were so difficult. Like you play
too.
yeah, like you play that game and you level up, go through the zones, and like you're like, it's not that bad. It's it has its moments, but it's so just like helping other people oriented. It just doesn't come off as super hard. And then you get a group together and you go in these dungeons and you just get your ass kicked. It just doesn't make any sense at all. But again, I only played Wildstar for an hour and a half. I enjoyed the art style. I felt like I was playing a Ratchet and Clank villain. I liked that. I love the Ratchet and Clank games. They're some of my favorite action games ever made. But I liked the combat. But apart from that, it just felt like every other fucking MMO for the amount of time I put into it. Which again, I've only put like an hour and a half into it. So just take what I'm saying with a fucking grain of salt.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as you, Brennan. Like I've played an hour of it, and what I played, I enjoyed. I think that the UI is a bit of a clusterfuck as it stands, and it's something to where it's like I've got to adjust to it. A lot of it's done like quests and stuff are like handled through speech bubbles that are above the characters. And I'm not sure if I like that.
No, I don't know.
No, I mean
that's not good.
Yeah, but I mean that's not like game breaker or anything.
It just
like
goes with their
Everquest
like comic booky feel that they want to do. I agree. The UI is a clusterfuck.
Like as it stands, I feel like at least it's adjustable, right? Like I just feel like when I first got into it, there's so many like dialogue bubbles that are coming up in any environment, and I think that like it's almost like I have to scale the UI in a specific way in order to make what I'm doing very legible and very understandable. To where it's like, okay, this is my quest giver. This is who I need to talk to. This is the dialogue I need to listen to, and then this is where I need to go. And I don't think that it's as well like directed as like a World of Warcraft or something, at least not from like the first hour, to where I feel like it's the UI is obtuse in a way. Like it's very direct in where it tells you to go, but I don't think that the markers and indicators are as obvious as like in a World of Warcraft. And it's a game that requires that, because it's not like a Dark Souls or something to where it's like the level design will naturally inform you in which direction to go. Like MMOs typically are kind of mechanical in that it's like, we need you to go handle this thing at this specific point, and it's not something to where the landscape is going to like unfurl in such a way that you will land there. You kind of need to be told like, no, go north, go to this waypoint, typically. And that seems to be how Wildstar is laid out, and I don't think that it's as obvious to get to an objective. And maybe that's just me getting my Wildstar legs or something.
You can click on your like quest objectives. It'll give you a little arrow.
Mm-hmm.
Telling you where to go. I mean, it didn't seem like it was that. For me, I didn't have like an issue kind of finding my way. The only problems I had were like they add a lot of automation to some of the stuff you do. Like some quests you can complete by like a telecom call. Some of them, so you don't have to walk all the way back to somebody to advance a storyline quest, which is nice. I like that. Other games fucking need that. Like, just give your character an ability to communicate with the person that he's actually talking to, so you can continue to do stuff in the field. It makes more sense. Cool. There's also I don't know if it was a bug right now in the beta, but the way that the loot system works in the game, that loot just flies out of enemies, and you can like vacuum it to yourself. If you do not vacuum it to yourself, I found that there was a like bug where the button would not go away. Like there's this highlighted thing like press V to vacuum in items. No matter, even if you're 100 yards away from this fucking enemy, it will stay there. Like it just didn't go away for me for the longest time. That was really frustrating. Like just it's tiny shit. Like sometimes those speech bubbles would appear off the screen and I could not get rid of them. Like it was some weird like open beta stuff. Again, like overall, like I think that it's promising. But I don't know if I'll put the time into it. The only MMO I really care about right now, and it's not even, they haven't even shown anything except for like it's some very obviously alpha, pre-alpha footage is EverQuest 2. I mean EverQuest 3. So
yeah, that looks like it's gonna be phenomenal. I think really like my issue with the indicators, like not that there's an arrow or something, is that that's like that's one additional step that I have to do in order to get to an objective. Like, okay, take for example like World of Warcraft or something, and like you pick up a quest, and then the quest is clearly indicated by like a giant golden exclamation mark that shows up on the minimap. It's very clear. And then your quest objective is usually highlighted on a map. Like you can just open up a world map, and then that's indicated. And in Wildstar it frequently is, but at least in the opening area, you're teleporting from zone to zone. So you can get a quest that requires a highlight in another zone that won't appear on your base map. And it's just based off of like the opening area is structured in such a way that it's on like a space station, at least on the side that I'm playing, which is the good side, whatever, the Exiles. So you're told to handle an objective in a zone. So I have to click on a button, find the arrow, and a lot of times the pathing will loop back underneath like pathways that I've already walked across, because it's much more interconnected and it's much more vertical as opposed to being laid out horizontally like on a flat plane. So I felt like at least early on it wasn't as snappy to get into, and most of the icons are like a dull gray as opposed to it being like a bright yellow. So that's not something to where it's like it's necessarily detrimental, but I felt like early on that kind of was indicative of them not thinking about at least the opening level design, to where it's like they wanted it to be structured more like an action game, to where you're flowing through the environments, but all the indicators are based off of like standard MMO indicators. And I don't think that meshes well with the level design they had at the time. And I feel like that probably won't be a problem once you get into the larger world. Like, I don't know if the Dominion, like when you started off, if you were in like a space station or if you were like just out on the open plains of the world in Wildstar. But on the Exiles, you were like trapped on this kind of like claustrophobic space station.
It's more open. Didn't seem so claustrophobic with me.
Okay. Yeah, and for the Exiles, it's very small compartmentalized sections that are like linked together with teleporters. Each one with its own unique map. But like the combat, I enjoyed it. I thought like everything was pretty snappy. Art style, I really liked it, Kazak. I don't know, man.
I really don't understand why it's putting me off, because it should be something I really should get into, because I like comic books. I like them. I don't know. I feel like as though like I have this weird feeling in the back of my head that I feel like a lot of the really big open zones are just going to be like empty and there's not going to be much there. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know why I have that feeling. Like I feel like most of the zones in that game is going to be like Badlands in World of Warcraft, where it's just a big desert with nothing in it, and then you run into a camp.
So going off of just like reading about the game as opposed to experiencing it, what I understand is that there's a settler path. So I think a lot of the zones will probably be somewhat open, and that's because you can create settlements and grow settlements, and that's part of their like quest line, is to grow portions of the zones, which I think is pretty interesting. And I think talking about it like conceptually, like the groundwork they have in place is to where they've got like player housing and PvP and a very large open world that seems to rival, if not be in fact larger than World of Warcraft's Azeroth. So I'm hoping that it's that it is that kind of MMO to where it's like mass scale. If it plays like Guild Wars but it has like a quest structure like World of Warcraft, I could find myself really enjoying it for a month or two. I don't know how long I'd be into it, but yeah, I'm certainly not like super excited. It's definitely something to where I will pick it up in June and dick around with it, because that's what I do. But yeah,
that kind of sounds like I picked up. I paid for one of the founders packs for Everquest Landmark, and I spent about an hour in that, hour or two, just kind of looking at stuff. That's a game. It looks really interesting. I didn't get too much into it, like all the mechanics, because I didn't really know what the fuck I was doing. But to see the stuff that people were already building in some of the start out zones was really cool to look at. And I don't think I'm breaking any kind of confidentiality thing by talking about it.
No, it's fair. Yeah, they dropped that very quickly.
I mean, people are fucking streaming the game right now as we speak. Yeah. So
yeah, it was like the first day of alpha. They still had an NDA up, and then they were like, I think 3 hours in, they were like, you know what? No, fuck it. We're just pulling this down. You guys can talk about whatever, even if it's broken. Just talk about it. which
Yeah,
I think
and-
is pretty cool.
But the development team really seems sincere about like wanting to make the best game possible. Like even when you start up the beta, like, "Hey, welcome to beta." I'm like, "Hey, you're the founder, dude. Why am I not in game yet?" And he talks about all this stuff that is advanced from alpha and stuff like that.
That is super
And then-
weird.
And then there's like, "When are we gonna go to open beta?" We don't know. It's up to you guys. I'm like, that's kind of nice, you know. And they're really excited about the community being part of the development, which is pretty cool.
I really like what Sony Online Entertainment's been doing with their PR team.
Yeah, they seem to be like friendlier, more accessible. I mean, I'm sure that's all just like, you know, spin, but it's the right kind of spin.
Exactly.
Like, and not only that, but like the way that they interact on the forums has been pretty great so far. And like, just like following like their updates on Twitter, you know, they seem to be like very aware of issues in the game and like very receptive to criticism.
Yeah, I will
nice.
say my hour there playing the game I thought crashed on me at one point because it like stuck me on the screen and it wouldn't go away until I alt tabbed out of it and then alt tabbed back in, which I thought was weird. So it's far from being done, but there's definitely a foundation there, and what people have been pulling off is really impressive.
So did you toured the world? You didn't put down a claim flag or anything?
No, not yet, because I don't really. There's a lot of stuff like with building materials and a lot of mining you really need to start out with and like get things done. But there's a couple of castles I went by. Some guy made a giant like Kashyyyk kind of like tree fort that I wandered around in, which was pretty cool. I got stuck in a hole and I used the go home like gem thing, which I don't know if I like that system. The go home like kind of like system gems, you have to mine materials and make one, and they're consumable instead of having like a Hearthstone that works every 30 minutes. But then again, it has that kind of like, well, you get lost, you can use this anytime to get back. But the Hearthstone, you use it once and you're kind of fucked for like 30 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't even notice. Like, I used that stone. I didn't know that it was like like usable and then it removes from the inventory. And that's new. Like from when I played a few weeks back, that wasn't in the game. Yeah, like wandering around Landmark's pretty interesting just to see like what people have created. I know I came across like one guy that built like a giant lighthouse on top of a mountain and then connected that to a sky dock to where he had a floating airship.
Oh, nice.
So it's like there have been some super impressive things that the community has put together, and I think that's super fascinating in terms of like them crowdsourcing a lot of like the rudimentary development of assets for EverQuest Next going forward. Like it gives me a lot of I don't know, like hope for that project, especially because like this is a very complicated system to put together in like an MMO, to where it's like an entirely voxel-based terrain that looks polygonal. But also like fully tweakable, fully destructible, that sort of thing. And I don't know, just like technically I find it super impressive.
Voxels, man. They're the way of the future. Mm-hmm. John Carmack said that once. So it has to be true.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks really promising at this point. I'll probably go back and maybe put down a claim and try to build something.
Yeah, we should build together.
We should totally build together. Lance, you should come build with us.
Scared of building.
Fine then, we'll make a giant dick statue in your honor because you don't come and play with us.
Wow. Yeah, it's I don't know. I feel like you got the subscription to PlantSide, or like the all access subscription as well, right?
Yes, I did. Because it's totally worth people's money.
Yeah, it's like that. I feel like, did that give you Landmark access, or is that not like on the list until open beta?
It should, I think.
Okay.
I would double check that to make sure, because I'm not sure, because the thing I got was a special like founders pack thing where you get a couple of different equipment and you get into the closed beta. I'm not sure if the Sony subscription gets you into that or not.
I don't think it does until open beta, but I think that's not very far off. So
I'm actually
I'm not
sure about that, because they want to put in a combat system before they go to open.
Was that okay? And they've also done a roadmap, which I think is great, which is similar to what they did with PlanetSide 2. And I think on their roadmap they've got that laid out to where, oh man, I know they had a date kind of like roughly set for it, and I thought it was coming up soon-ish, like within a month. And I thought that was like the last major update for closed beta, and then it would be like open beta.
I'm gonna have to double check that.
I could be wrong. But yeah, I've also been playing a lot of PlanetSide 2 lately. With you guys.
PlanetSide.
The game's right.
Yeah, that's right. I have been playing PlanetSide. I don't know why I forgot that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have been doing that. So.
Terran Republic forever.
Yeah. I feel like Terran gets kind of like fucked on both sides all the time, though, by NC and Vanu. I feel like if Vanu and NC never fight, it's like just us. They just hate us.
That's because we're red, and they get turned on by all the red.
Like a bull.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I like to think that it's just because we're doing so well that they both like want to crunch down on us, but I'm sure that's not actually the case. Sure feels like it sometimes. Like we'll make like a valiant effort to push forward, like across Endar or something, and then that'll swiftly be curtailed by the two of them.
It's because we're kicking their ass so hard.
Yeah,
that's why.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed playing that again. Like they've made some significant updates in the last few months, and it seems like they've got some like super aggressive content plans with Battle Islands and a new continent coming in the very near future. That game runs great too. Whatever they've done for like their performance patches have been incredible.
Yeah, you can have hundreds of characters on screen, and the game looks fucking beautiful, and it still keeps around. Sometimes not a 60, but like a 45.
Yeah,
which is still really good.
Nice when that's perfectly fine. The game is like as big as it is.
Exactly.
I feel like they do a lot of complicated things with the shooting too. I know that I've mentioned it before, but I really like the fact that there's like bullet drop, and like gun ranges where it's like instead of it just being like hit scan, there is like a travel speed. Like I think that's crazy that all that is being processed by a server, especially with firefights that size. I think that makes the shooting like way more satisfying than probably like large scale contemporary games. But that may just be me. Like I really enjoyed the shooting now in PlanetSide 2. Like before, like especially in the first game, that was kind of like the shooting is passable. It's more about like the scale. And in this one, I find it like really fun just to be in a large firefight because I feel kind of empowered with whichever weapon selection I have. And that feels more like playing a Battlefield or something at this point.
Except, this game's more completed than Battlefield 4.
Yeah. I still like me some Battlefield 4.
I still like Battlefield 4.
Like I haven't been.
It's been a while.
I haven't been hit with a bunch of issues with Battlefield 4. I know that they're still lingering, and I'm sure that there's probably like a crash in my future in between like map changes. But like playing that, I really dig that game, and it seems to run pretty well on my machine. Let's say. I don't want to knock on wood and then start having like a series of like map crashes or something.
That only happens when I try to play.
Yeah.
If you guys play without me, you'll be fine. Then I jump online, everything just goes to shit.
It's the curse.
Yeah, I think the last time I played it crashed. Battlefield crashed twice.
Did it crash in between missions?
At this point. Yeah, it was in between. Well, it crashed once loading, just completely loading the game up.
See, yeah, it's like lately, like I haven't had a crash in like the last month of me playing it. I haven't been playing it like super regularly, but before that, like my crashes were usually in between like map changes. So even though there were technical issues, it was quick to boot back up. It doesn't take long to load, and it happened at a time to where it wasn't like necessarily impacting gameplay. So it wasn't like so frustrating.
There has been still like server issues with that game here and there, which
like
that's just now more of like a thing. Remember last week there was like a ton of different Dark Souls 2 like server issues as well.
Oh yeah,
that's been popping up. I don't like this new trend of shit not working because servers, bro. I don't like it.
I wonder if that's like from servers not handling the load. Like, I'd like to think that it's just because Dark Souls 2 is very successful. And probably more successful than they thought it would be.
Well, a lot of people on the Reddits, because that's where I go when shit's not working, because someone usually there, or NeoGAF know what's going on. And it's not from side of things. It's supposedly Steam can't handle the load, which is odd.
Wow.
Steam's been acting weird last week, so I believe it.
I'm sure Gabe's probably planning something big, or else he like spilt like a big thing of gelatin on the server or something like that. I don't know.
So you can bring this full circle and blame it on Dota.
Yes, fucking Dota.
So how about that Dota?
Yeah, Dota. It's a good game, man. Game's hard, yo.
Yeah. I still haven't gotten into it yet. I don't have time, man.
Well, it's been 40 minutes, Kazak. We expect you to be on it now, okay? Multitasking, dude. That's where it's at. I'm playing 5 matches of Dota right now. Y'all don't even know.
I gotta press this button that lets me talk on the microphone because I don't trust the manual mic.
That's a good idea. Yeah, I got mine set to push to talk for a reason.
Exactly.
Y'all don't want to hear what's going on here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my! Why are you fapping to the news of the Unreal tournaments being developed?
Yes.
Is that it?
Furiously.
Mm-hmm.
How about that?
That's been going on for days. That is a really interesting, cool way how they announced it. Like they just popped up in a Twitch stream. They're like, "So yeah, we're gonna talk about Unreal 4, but first," and then they enter in the first line of code like, "We're making this game now."
Yeah, I've gone on record multiple times saying that's my favorite shooter ever made, period, was Unreal Tournament 2004. Technically 2003, you can just say I like that one because 2003 and 2004
it's
were like
not
the
the
same.
same.
Yes, they were like
Completely
the same
different.
fucking game.
Completely different game.
No,
one's just very much
fucking
more feature-rich than the other.
Yes, that's like the only difference.
The UIs are different.
One has a lightning rifle, one has both, a sniper rifle and a lightning rifle. That's the difference.
2K4 was so good.
It's so good.
Yeah, that might be the most content-heavy shooter ever made.
I think this coupled with like their pricing model for Unreal Engine 4, like I'm encouraged. Like I'm going to download the Unreal 4 SDK and probably put in for a month's subscription into that, which is it's $20 a month. I think you get the first month for free. With like a bevy of resources at your disposal to start with, so since it's trying to compete aggressively with Unity engine, and it'll probably trounce it at this point. I mean, it just seems like that's the way the wind's blowing. And I think that's super fascinating with like they're going to allow not just on the engine side, but this will probably transfer over to like Unreal Tournament as well, to where it's like you can create resources, right? Like somebody could rig a gun. So you could download the gun, and it's got the meshes, the models, the animation sets, and how that is rigged to a character's hand. And then you can just download that. Somebody could offer that up and say like $10 for this gun set. You download it. Now you can use that as part of your license to create a game. To where it's like no longer will you need to have a team of modelers and animators. You could almost crowdsource your own game. Paying piecemeal for the items that you need in order to complete your project. I think that is super fascinating.
That is cool.
And
that's how they're building Unreal Tournament, except nobody's paying a cent to make it.
Yeah.
Other than, Epic.
I think that's a really cool idea, just letting people like create maps and mods. I bet a lot of those are going to come out and be free because most people want it just like on like a resume sheet where it's like, yeah, I created this mod.
Yeah. I mean, that's why Unreal Tournament was so popular. I mean, I don't know how many times I've joined a server where I had to download a gigabyte of custom music for just the fucking rotation of maps. But the fact that it is a open sourced game, and it really is. I mean, the core will be made by apparently very much veteran team members of that game series, but the community aspect of it just 100% confirms to me. I don't need to wait to play this game to know that it will be what people want, because I would assume that 45% of the content we're going to get is from the actual dev team, and then the rest of it's going to be player made, and players will make what the people want.
Yeah, design aspect and how people are putting this game together, you know, the last podcast we were talking about, oh yeah, we're pretty excited, you know, to see an Unreal Tournament, but we're more interested in seeing what Cliffy B does now with his own privacy. Now I could give two shits about what Cliffy B is doing.
Yeah.
Just because now I want to really see what the community takes away from Unreal Tournament, because it's no longer Epic's baby, it's the community's baby.
I just I wonder if there's going to be a term for the Valveization of game companies, because what Epic is doing with this comes across as a very Valve sort of move.
Mm-hmm.
To where that is a calculated risk, and okay, we are going to develop this game, which is going to be essentially done by a AAA studio, and will probably be as content rich as any other Unreal Tournament, but we're not going to charge anything for it. We're going to set everything into place for a community marketplace. That's in a way that sounds super risky, but judging internet excitement, it seems like it's going to be very successful.
Mm-hmm. No, I have 100% hope and faith in this game.
Well, I don't think it's a free game. There's no pay model at all attached to it.
Yeah, there will be. The pay model will be, it's like Dota and Team Fortress. It will be only player made stuff from what it looks like, and they can either choose to charge for it or not, but the pricing model will come from probably people who make custom skins and stuff. That will probably be where most of the money comes from. But I mean, that's skins and shit, and a lot of that stuff will probably be free. You might have someone that might charge for a map. I'm not opposed to supporting somebody who made something if it's good. I'm not opposed to that. So I'm totally okay with the model that they're going for. But apart from that, yes, there will be no features that anyone will not have because they didn't pay, $5 a month to get something.
Okay.
It will be 100% feature filled. There will be nothing that keeps. If you play it, you're getting everything.
And anything ever made by Epic that is relating to Unreal Tournament, that is free.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They will never charge for a map pack. They will never charge for an update. They'll never charge for an expansion. They are fully hoping that the community fills this out. And I think that they're probably, it's probably a safe bet, because let's say the community builds a gun for a game, or they probably won't allow for weapons to be added. It'll probably be skins and maps and severe modifications, mutators and stuff. And those will be the people that are building those are going to be paying $20 a month in order to have the UDK.
Mm-hmm.
So it's they're making money on that end, and then if they create something good and people really like it, then they're making money on that as well.
Yeah.
I mean, Red Orchestra started as an Unreal Tournament mod, so it's safe to assume that with Unreal Tournament 4 coming out, and if you can modify it in such a broad and crazy way, then you'll probably get stuff closer to fully featured games, as that's what people will be charging for. At least I think that'll probably be what it will be like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, they'll make money. It will be people will play this game.
Oh yeah, it's a really safe bet. This new model of the Unreal Engine is going to be really cool to look at and see. Since I feel like the Unreal 3 engine, since Unreal Tournament 3 didn't do so great, it wasn't that great of a game, so not a lot of huge gigantic mods came up from it. I mean, there's been pretty good AAA games that have come from the Unreal 3 engine, because it's fucking Unreal 3 engine. But we didn't have things like Red Orchestra this generation mod related, or a Killing Floor or anything like that. But now there's a really big promise of things coming out like that, since they already announced Killing Floor 2 is going to be a UE4 game as well.
Mm-hmm.
Which that's a thing too. Killing Floor 2 got announced 2 days ago?
Yeah, something like that. I thought, was it even yesterday?
No, I think it was about 2 days ago.
Yeah, that looks super cool.
Yeah.
And I like the level of violence. Them being inspired by Soldier of Fortune in terms of gore. I'm all right, sounds good.
Just love. They're yeah, this has been taking a while, but this is why we have 94 different jib areas on all the models.
That sounds all right.
Yep.
I'm down for that.
Oh god, I really want to see how that game takes off, because there's a lot of people that are just who don't know the history of Killing Floor. I was one of the first people who downloaded the mod before it won the Mod of the Year award, like back in the day. And to see it evolve into what it is now is really cool. But then a lot of people are like, this is some really super dated Unreal 2 engine game. It's, it's ripping off Left 4 Dead, even though they don't know that Killing Floor came out way before Left 4 Dead was even thought of yet.
Yeah.
But now, now the Killing Floor 2 is coming out. It's like the little bits they've shown off looks really good.
I hope it is good. I bet it probably will be. Like, I trust that. Like, I enjoyed Killing Floor enough. It wasn't like something to where it's like I was passionate about it in any way, but like I enjoyed my time with it. And I think like anything that's going to be using like the latest technology and has kind of like a strong enough like I don't know, like footing. Like it has enough like purchase in its footing for like being an established franchise at this point that I feel like it'll be like a quality product. So I mean, like, yeah, I'm like excited about it, and I'm excited about like the level of violence for sure because I love me some savagery.
Yeah. I also enjoy the fact that Tripwire has been brought up from like this super small mod team to now like a somewhat respected developer in the community.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they are the Red Orchestra guys, right? I'm not tripping.
Yeah, okay. They're the Red Orchestra guys.
Damn, tripping because it's Tripwire. See, I was...
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, we got it.
All right.
Yeah.
Wasn't gonna comment on it till you just had to poke
I
for
wanted
it.
To clarify.
Poke for the response. Okay, yeah, it's fine.
Oh man. So what other news is out there? There's
All right, let's stop beating around the bush. Let's talk about what we're all freaking out about. Lance, go for it. Just scream it out. Scream it out, Lance.
I assume you're going to talking about Project Beast.
I said scream.
No, I'm not going to scream Project Beast. I do.
Project Beast.
I live in an apartment, man. I can't be doing that. I can't be loud. I gotta be a nice neighbor. I gotta be a nice neighbor.
No, they're not going to be nice to
motherfucker.
You. Yeah. But yeah,
stop being an adult.
Project Beast, aka Demon Souls 2. That's what it is.
Yeah, the Miyazaki.
That is what it is.
Miyazaki run game. Like, it's weird thinking about the Dark Souls 2 was essentially like a B team. That's bizarre because I think it's incredible. Where it's like their
right?
B team is like better than pretty much every other company's A team. And I'm super excited to see what like their A team is doing. Though right now it's this leaked on this was a 4chan leak. This is a V 4chan leak that then was picked up by NeoGAF. Yeah.
I thought it was. Oh, that's weird. I thought it was a NeoGAF like exclusively leaked it at first, but
no, they pulled it. I
could believe that,
which is super surprising. But it's like at this point, there's enough. Like those screenshots look pretty legit, right? And there's been enough like talk about Project Beast as well as people that are like peripherally associated with like Sony and From Software. Those developer posts have stopped now on NeoGAF, and when you go through a history, it's like how many times they've used the word beast. Like, oh man, this guy's going into beast mode. And it's like a string of replies to where it's clear that they were teasing something and people weren't picking up what they were teasing. Which I think is super fascinating and is indicative that this really is a real project. And I feel like this was kind of like going to be the announcement at the Sony conference to kind of like garner them like, you know, as like fan favoritism more so than what they've already got. And it kind of sucks for them that this surprise has been blown, but it's really got me like way more excited for E3 at this point.
Oh yeah, there's a lot more E3 buzz than there's been for a while.
Yeah, E3 this year is going to be a hell of a thing. I think that it's good that Sony's going to need some fanfare thing, because the big thing that people are hoping from Microsoft based on rumors is that Halo 2 is getting a complete remake. And they've denied it, but you've had both leaks, and then the voice actor for Master Chief said that he did that. So he had to come out and deny it after he said it, of course, because that's what you do. But he was pretty detailed, and that's Microsoft's got the biggest fucking multiplayer game on console history I wouldn't say it's the biggest. Okay, I just said it was the biggest, but let me rephrase. It is the biggest in terms of its monumental like achievements for online multiplayer on consoles, and it's a 10th year remake anniversary. Like that's a big deal. So if Sony's gonna need something,
I don't, you know,
if
after
that's what
this,
they do.
after Titanfall sales, I don't think Sony is threatened in any way by Halo 2. I mean, like Halo 2 is something to where it's like I'm kind of like excited for, but not like it's rough to be super excited for a remake. Like I would want a Halo 5 that's like radically different and new over like Halo 2. As much as I would really like to play Halo 2, and of course I will pick it up, but I don't think it's going to be. I have a hard time seeing it as like it's going to be like a giant like system seller.
I think it will be. I think it will be.
I mean, that's not great for their IPs when like everyone's more hyped about a 10-year-old game being remade. I mean,
it's a really good game.
Great game.
Brennan is right. It is fantastic.
I fucking love Halo 2. It's fantastic, and it's like one of the best shooters that came out and revolutionized, console shooting online. But still, it's a fucking 10-year-old game. No new IP. Nobody. I still don't understand how people are buying Xbox Ones. I don't fucking get it. It's there's nothing really to be excited about that console unless you're playing Titanfall.
I like Xbox One.
No, you don't. Don't lie to me.
Like and then it's pretty.
Well, there's Sunset Overdrive.
No, you say Xbox and it turns on. And you're like, oh shit.
Look, you got games like Sunset Overdrive coming out for that system, which looks really cool.
That's something I'm actually excited for. I feel like Halo has lost. Like I know there are Halo fans that'll pick it up, but a Halo fan will pick it up for Halo 5 or they'll pick it up for Halo 2. Like all they need is a Halo to get it. So it's like there are those people that are like waiting in the wings for like a Halo franchise to come out. So for me, like personally, I don't find like Halo 2 is to be like particularly exciting, right? Like I'm also not like super excited for like the Last of Us HD remake, for example.
Yeah, because I'm just the reason I bring up the Halo thing is just because it will be for them, and I know it to be the case. If they want something to help kickstart some sales on their console, it's stupid that an HD remake needs to be that game, but if any game were to do that, it would be that one.
Well, do you think there's validity to the like early on was the rumor not just that it's a Halo 2 anniversary, but that Microsoft is kind of going like all in with it, and it's not just Halo 2 anniversary, but also Halo 3.
The rumor was that it was, I mean, this is again rumors. We could all be wrong. Halo 2 could not be coming out on anniversary. I'm assuming it will be just because timing wise it makes sense, and everyone else is also.
I bet it's real.
But the other rumor was that there was going to be a deluxe edition of it that would include not HD remasters, but just ports that were compatible with Xbox One of Halo 3 and 4 as well.
See, if they got rid of 4
cool.
and made it Reach, I would be down. I'd be super excited.
It might be. I mean, it might be all three of them.
Like if they were to upscale them to where it's like they could just run natively at 1080p and like 60 frames per second, which if
I don't know about.
I would consider an Xbox One. Then.
I don't know if they'll switch the frame rate.
Do you think the physics are tied to it?
I think that Halo 2 will probably run at 60. Yeah, I think the physics are tied to 30, so I don't think they can change that.
Okay.
I'm positive though that if the HD remake is for Halo 2, that will be 60. I'm positive that will.
Yeah, like I feel like they would do that. I wonder if that would like, because I know like with Dark Souls, right? But that's something to where it's like from software. I know that I shit on Japanese programmers, but I mean like usually like I would consider Bungie and the people like 343 are probably savvy enough that they could upscale it and increase the frame rate without it fucking like the flow of the game up.
That's the thing. Halo is one of the only first-person shooters I've played that actually feels good at 30 frames. Like I don't.
Because it's so tailored?
I would not be I wouldn't be opposed to it being in 60 at all, but I mean, I wouldn't be mad if it was a 30 still too.
Sure.
I mean, it's a game that it plays well. It just really plays well. So, the thing it has me excited about the possibility of the Halo 2 remake is that it's not going to be, the multiplayer will not be that of, Halo 4. It will not be that it's a new system, it's a new engine. And I'm assuming that the engine they use for Halo 2 will be the engine they use for 5. But because Halo 2 is coming out between, the remake of Halo 2 is coming out between 4 and 5, they have to make multiplayer its own thing. They can't base it off of prior installments. Like Halo 1 Anniversary had Reach multiplayer on Halo 1 maps, which made them stupid, but that's what they did. They just used Reach's engine. they can't do that with this. They have to make its own secular, like singular experience for multiplayer that is Halo 2. So that has me excited. I'm not going to get everyone's pretty much 100% confident that what they're going to get from that game is not going to be something that's based off a prior entry.
Yeah.
It will be new.
Yeah, I feel the
which
same
is
way.
really cool.
I wonder if the single player, do you think they're going to do the same masking with the engine to where it's like we're going to place like a new renderer with new models over what is the code of Halo 2?
I doubt it.
You think it'll be like full ground up?
Yeah, I think it'll be full ground up. I think
That's
the reason that they won't do the masking thing, I think the only reason the masking thing worked was because they didn't, I mean, Reach didn't upgrade that engine so much from 3. It was definitely, I mean, it definitely was an upgrade, but it wasn't huge. And Halo 3 itself was not a gymongous upgrade from 2 in terms of fidelity. I mean, sure, the worlds were larger. But I mean, if you put those side by side, like it was basically like a nice texture resolution upgrade. It didn't look like there was a lot more or anything else added to it.
That engine was super powerful, and it could span across those two consoles at that time fairly easily.
Yeah, it's not. So I think the only reason they did the masking thing was because they could just pull it off with that Reach engine. Yeah. I don't think they can really do that with a new. I mean, maybe they do. I mean, it was an interesting feature.
Yeah, push a button and have it like redraw as Halo CE was.
Yeah,
on
like
Xbox.
that's cool. That's cool, but I don't know if they'll put the time into it. I think it's more for them. It's more important that they nail the multiplayer aspect of it.
Yeah, I think it would be cool if they went through and like did like a full remastering, kind of like what you're saying, to where it's like, okay, we're rebuilding Halo 2 because the campaign isn't that large. I mean, it's a significant investment to go through and redesign all that stuff. But it's like if you have the basics of like how the AI interacts with the environment, it's like that grunt work's already taken care of. So it's mostly like new models, new spawn, coming up with the level design. Because Halo 2's campaign, if it was tweaked and adjusted, could be really incredible. Like as it stands, I think that as far as like a campaign goes in that franchise, it's probably like my least favorite. Yeah, it's got some really great levels in it, but like I think all of them.
No, I would say it's the weakest.
The only way they could make the campaign worse is if they replace the Breaking Benjamin song. That makes no sense in being there. I can't play
HD
it
remake.
anymore if that song is gone.
Yeah, true HD remake.
I need my Breaking Benjamin. Yeah.
Oh God.
Yep.
And Incubus, right?
Was that?
I don't
Incubus did portions of that soundtrack, I thought.
Oh God.
No, that's not in there. I have the Halo 2
Are you sure about
soundtrack,
that?
And it's
I felt like they did
it's all Marty O'Donnell except
portion of that soundtrack.
Look, just the fact that that's even a conversation, maybe like shows issues with that soundtrack.
No, I think if I remember correctly, because I would have to go through and look through my files and find that CD rip. Like I believe it was all Marty O'Donnell, and then Breaking Benjamin had one fucking song in there, and it's like, why is this in here? They didn't even put it as a thing that fades into a battle. It like starts playing like in this pseudo like one room battle, and it's like this okay. This is not like during like some epic scene where you could like pull off like a pseudo like rock band kind of soundtrack going off where it's like, yeah, shooting dice. It's like, no. There's a couple dudes in a room. You could easily just walk through it and avoid the whole confrontation.
That's a weird time for game soundtracks. Like, you guys remember Prince of Persia: Warrior Within? Scored by Godsmack.
God, that was the worst idea ever. I really do categorize that as probably the worst game soundtrack decision of all time.
Oh man, he played the Dahaka too. I think.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So stupid.
Doc only listens to angsty late 90s shitty hard rock.
Yeah.
The only game that could pull like a soundtrack like that was, do you guys ever play a Mega Boost on PlayStation 1?
No.
Oh god, it had a soundtrack done by Static X and a bunch of other like big names in like new metal at the time in like the mid to late 90s. And that soundtrack's actually pretty good, mostly because their intro song is Fly, and that song's kind of awesome, but it makes sense for that game because all it is just like a dude flying around through time in a giant space mech, blowing shit up so people don't fuck up the timeline.
And that's how you stop the
makes
timeline
sense.
from getting fucked up, is send them back.
Yeah, you gotta blow more things up.
Yeah, that was a weird 5-year period then. Because I remember also like late 90s, like 99, when Crazy Taxi. It was like, oh my god.
God with Offspring.
Yeah,
It
like
was the same
3
two Offspring
Offspring
songs over and yeah, just over and over again. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Every single
But you were
goddamn
making
time.
some crazy money though.
Yeah, Crazy Money and Crazy Taxi. Oh, Jesus.
Good times. I remember being so impressed by Crazy Taxi. The first time I'd seen it, it wasn't like on Dreamcast yet. I saw like the arcade machine, and I thought that game looked incredible.
God, I haven't seen like the latest arcade machine I've seen in years was like Tekken 5. I found a Tekken 5 machine in America at an amusement park.
Jesus.
Yeah. Oh man, that kind of sucks. It's just like now that the arcade scene is only like big in Japan, but the only like arcade scene you will kind of get in America are like these like old school throwback ones where you can play like Miss Pac-Man and like Battletoads. Don't get me wrong, love me a game of Battletoads. Have a machine in a
All
bar,
30 seconds
like
up.
a couple streets over. Yep.
Yeah.
God, that game eats quarters, especially after 5 beers. That game really eats
Like
quarters.
I went to an arcade kind of recently, and it was attached to a movie theater, Tinseltown here in Louisville. And it was super weird how some things just don't change. How it's like the little kids that don't quite understand games yet are still like interacting with the machines and like acting like they're playing them, which is super funny. Like I remember I had a friend in Nashville when I was little, and he had an even littler brother, and we would just like hand him the Super NES controller while like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cartoon was on. It's like, okay, you're gonna play Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh.
It's like, okay, that keeps him busy.
Yeah. Yeah, he just doesn't.
Yeah. So that's still going on. So it was like a blast from the past. I was like, oh man, it's so nostalgic.
I had that experience at there was a little shop up in Wisconsin Dells that sells like hot dogs and shit like that, and for some reason they had a still working X-Men arcade box. I was like,
Jesus.
holy shit! But it was just being railed on by these little kids, like knocking the sticks around like hardcore. I'm like, no, that poor machine. But
No, be gentle.
oh man, be gentle, please. It doesn't deserve that.
Yeah,
Oh, man.
I found I haven't found it. I know about it. There are 2 places in Nashville that I think one's been around for a while, another one opened up recently, but one's a bar that has like old school like NFL Blitz and like off-road and some like really cool arcade games, and you can play them for completely free. Like they're completely free. And then also at your tables, like it's a smaller bar, but at your tables they can hand you like Xbox One controllers, PS4 controllers. You can play some games like at your table, at TVs that they have like hooked in, and it's like a full blown like bar, like dinner place. And it's not corny or anything. Like it's actually like the food's really good, and it's like like you can buy an appetizer for like $12. It's like decent amount of food, but it's like high quality shit. I was really surprised.
That's
by
super
it.
rad. Holy shit.
Yeah, it's a really cool like place from what I've seen. And there's another place that's not too far from me that has like all the Street Fighters ever made, and like a lot of Tekkens, like a lot of like a shit ton of pinball machines, and yeah, like you pay an amount and they just let you play the games for free. Like you just pay for like $20 like an hour, or like not an hour, like every 2 hours or something. Not even that much. I think it's less, but you just go in and play.
I am in the wrong state. I need to move.
Yes, come to the Bible Belt.
Yeah,
okay, never mind.
When you come down for the international, we will definitely like take a trip out to downtown and go to this place.
Okay,
that'll be super
I've
cool.
heard nothing but good.
Kazbek, do you have any national plans?
No, because still
You don't play
haven't
Dota.
put my 20 matches yet. So
All right.
maybe after that. I'm trying to figure out some plans to actually come down, but that's kind of like I found out airfare is like $500 just to go down there. It's like crazy this summer. So anyway, Halo 2 Anniversary Edition, guys.
Yeah. What else about it? We talked about it. People know.
I forget how we.
Are we
even
going to
got
go
to
into
the
NPDs
subject we were on.
since those are out?
What?
The NPDs are out for like sales.
What the fuck?
For like Q4.
Oh. Oh, I don't pay attention to that stuff. That's
See,
not
I do.
important to me.
Like, I'm super fascinated by it. Like, on one end, kind of like how Kazak was talking about like the Wii U earlier. Like when I mentioned it, and he's like, "Oh Jesus, that thing," or whatever. It's like I find like sales are super interesting as somebody that's like fascinated by the industry.
Yeah.
And it was super sad looking at Nintendo's numbers. Like that is depressing, especially like comparatively.
I feel like they'll get a nice boost this year with the Smash Brothers and Mario Kart, but it will be enough to save them. No, it will not.
I feel like they're really shooting themselves in the foot by having this Smash Bros come out first on 3DS right away in the summer.
There's releasing a reason for that.
Yeah,
it's
development reasons. Yeah,
well, it's not just It's not just development though. Like they want to have something for the holiday. Like the Wii version will be that will be their holiday game. That will be the thing that they want to have.
They're gonna announce Zelda at E3. You know that they're gonna announce.
Well, they will, but
Zelda.
that won't come out this year.
That'll
come out next year.
Nintendo needs some things, and they're not gonna get them. Like they really like announcing a Zelda is like so limp of them to do at this point. Like because it's not gonna impact them. What they need is a Zelda this Christmas. They need a Zelda like now. And they need it bundled in.
See,
like Smash Brothers sells consoles, Mario Kart really sells consoles, and Zelda really sells consoles. Mario Kart more so than anything, which is super weird to think about. That's like their most successful thing. But
hey Billy, we're gonna go buy Wii U. Why? It's fucking kart racers out. We gotta get it. I'm gonna turtle shell the shit out of it.
I'm gonna turtle shell the shit out of some motherfuckers.
Dude, we have got to play sure. That. I'm so excited. They added a horn and it takes out blue shells.
Kills the blue shell.
God.
It kills the blue shell.
I know.
Like, come on. Like, that's the greatest addition of history of that game.
You can kill the blue
shell
now?
You can kill it. You can kill it now.
That's horseshit.
You can kill it now.
That's horseshit.
Not horseshit. It's amazing.
0 out of 10.
It's amazing. What are you talking about?
It's a horn. It's a big horn.
Big horn. Mm-hmm. Wait a minute. Is it a horn that you can use anytime, or is it a power-up that you can pick up?
And it's supposedly pretty rare. It's like a lightning bolt in 64 or something.
Okay.
Where it's like not every race you'll have it.
I understand now. That makes more sense. I can get behind it. It just went up from 0 to 5 out of 10.
Come on. You fucking Nintendo hater.
No, I don't hate Nintendo. I love Zelda. Like, that is my passion is Zelda. I love Mario. I love Metroid. I love everything about them. It's just, they're doing so many things wrong at Nintendo. They just need a fresh breath of air. Like, their way they're doing online now is it's a good step, but it's not, they're still 2 steps behind, and I feel bad for them. So I feel like I'm more or less just preparing myself for the inevitable that they'll end up like Sega. They need to just end up like Sega at some point and just release games on consoles that are already out.
I don't think that'll ever happen. I think they will.
Or,
like, they've got so much money. Like, they have just got so much money in the bank that they can ride this.
Technically, they are losing
money. They
are
losing money, but they've got like an established war chest, right? And while they are beholden to investors, they're not so much, they're like willing to sacrifice like Iwata, right? So it's like they've still got enough like control. I mean, they're a Japanese company, so they operate very differently from like an American company.
That's true.
So, and they've got like an established war chest of just finances that they can dip into, to where it's like, while they are not profitable and while they are losing money and they're not gaining money year over year, they also do have enough invested into their own company that they won't get tits up anytime soon, and certainly not enough to get them out of the hardware market. I think Nintendo could blunder its way into bankruptcy, but it would take a very long time and multiple Wii U style failures. But
they just need that Hyrule Heroes game being made by Koei to come out sooner. I will actually buy a Wii U just to play that fucking game.
Are you a big
for fun?
Are you a big Dynasty Warriors guy?
I have a friend. My friend Zyklon's the guy who does the soundtrack for when we start the show. Mm-hmm. He's really embarrassed by that song, by the way. But he's a huge like feudal China like Dynasty Warriors. He's read the Romance of the Three Kingdoms books. He's really into Dynasty Warriors.
Uncharted Cliff on Blu-ray.
We watched not the theatrical, because that one cuts out like 4 hours. We watched in one sitting the like 6-hour version of Red Cliff on Blu-ray. It's beautiful. You should do it sometime.
Yeah,
you got nothing
that
to
terrifies
do for all
me.
day.
That's a lot.
It's like there's a lot in that history that makes it more interesting than the fucking game itself. If you get into the history of those people and you understand more about the culture and why things are like that, like
the history of Blue Bay.
like Yeah. Because he wasn't that huge of a dick, to be honest, but in Dynasty Wars, he's a gigantic dick. But it explains a lot of stuff with Chinese culture, like how Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon was, how everyone was fucking floating everywhere, because those people are like that, and it explains how like outrageously just badass the Dynasty Warrior openings are, and just
I totally just lost the track.
There's more to that
historical validity to walking in trees. And
yes, there is, because that's how they would talk about those people.
Oh yeah,
like that shit didn't actually happen, but they're fabled that way. Is what I'm trying to say.
Because I was going to say like,
yeah, that doesn't make any sense. But Dynasty Warriors is more cool if you actually have some background knowledge of what happened with the Romance of the Three Kingdoms. I'm not an expert myself. Mostly the stuff I know has been filtered by my friend who's told me everything. But yeah, I like Dynasty Warriors. I mean, that game needs a change or something, like real bad. I'm not one of those people who's like, oh man, they just added this one system, so I'm gonna buy 8-9 now. I'm like, wait a couple of renditions.
I got friends like that.
Yeah, friends like that too.
So since you're immersed in the Romance of the Three Kingdoms being Goron, Zora, and Highland, you feel equipped to fully enjoy this outing of a Dynasty Warrior spinoff.
Yeah, I mean, Gundam wasn't that bad. Gundam was actually stupid funny. That got announced too. They're redoing the Gundam Dynasty Warrior spinoff. If you guys didn't hear or care about it.
Yeah, I don't care.
Yeah, exactly.
Gundam was cool when I was like 8 years old, and then I stopped caring.
I liked it because you could watch the midnight version of Toonami, and they said words like "damn" and "shit," and that was cool.
Actually, no. There's one series of Gundams. Way off topic. We're not talking about games anymore. Now we're talking about Gundam. There was one series of Gundam that I really liked. That was the one where it was like they were guerrilla warfare guys in the jungle. I can't remember which one that was, but that was actually really cool. But that was on Toonami. Anyway, off that subject.
Okay. But yeah, to go into more Koei and their Dynasty Warrior franchise, I don't know. I would buy. No, not too much. I would buy that spin-off just for shits and grins. Plus, it gives me an excuse to buy a Wii U and not like fully just be like, oh, cool, I have Zombie U and Mario. I guess Monster Hunter would be a lot of fun, but yeah,
I like the ability to play on the controller. That's really the biggest reason I want one.
It's kind of neat.
Because my girlfriend watches Netflix a lot, and sometimes I just don't want to sit on my computer. I wouldn't mind sitting right next to her, and I can do that. That's cool.
Guess so, but you could also get a Game Gear and a lot of batteries and play Sonic that way.
What an idea!
Why would I do that? What a horrible idea! Why would we ever do that? No.
Because Game Gear, man, Game Gear's awesome. Don't you hate on Game Gear?
Okay, since we're getting Game Gear talk, I think it's cool to wrap this podcast up.
Yeah, Game Gears. We've ran out of.
Fucking death now. More.
Yeah.
Oh,
Game Gears.
Maybe
done.
I should cut out the last 30 minutes of this podcast. I don't know.
No, because
no. It'll be fine. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
It'll make up for what we're missing our deadline last week.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're talking about Game Gear. God damn
Jesus.
We talked about Game Gear and Koei and Romance
All right,
Three
fuck
Kingdoms.
this podcast.
All right, we're going hard cut again. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Say goodbye so I can end it.
I don't want to. I mean, fucking
Okay.
Koei. Fuck Koei.